over to Greg.
All right, thanks everybody. We're gonna use the raise your hand feature for Coach Collins here. So if you have a question, feel free to raise your hand, and I will call on you. Let's get started with Greg Pickle with BWI.
Coach, nice to meet you, and thanks for your time today.
Nice to meet you, Greg. Appreciate
Coach,
it.
why was Penn State an appealing option for you to come coach special teams and the other titles that you're responsible for? And what have you learned so far that you've enjoyed about State College, Penn State, et cetera?
Well, first of all, just the leadership under Coach Franklin. I followed his career from afar. I'm a Division II guy myself. I played there, started there, was a Division II head coach. So how he's worked that, how he handles himself, how he treats his players, that is evident from watching him in multiple settings. And with that, it's Penn State. It is one of the true blue blood programs. Growing up watching Penn State football, for me, that's an exciting opportunity on both of those ends.
Let's go to Mark Brennan with Fight on State.
Hey, Stacy. Nice meeting you. Appreciate you taking the time today.
Nice to meet you also.
Thanks. James was just talking about Vega, and could you kind of pick up on what he was talking about what makes this kid unique and about how his recruitment went? Thank you.
Yeah, just an unbelievable kid when you get a chance to know him more and more and more. Obviously, he's got the physical stature and athletic ability, but student body president, undefeated team this year that won a state championship on the last play of the game, a leader within that group. They've had ultra success. I was fortunate you've recruited that area for a long time. Know Eric Curley, the head coach at Graham Kapowski, and you're able to, when you're in that region for a long time, compare and contrast guys that have been through that region. And it was amazing as I talked to other high school coaches, not just his athletic ability. They talked about that side of it, but who he was as a person. And that's going to be a great addition to this program.
Let's go to Audrey Snyder with The Athletic. Sorry, Audrey. You there?
There we go. I think you got me now. Stacy, thank you for your time. What do you know so far about your kickers and punters? Where are you kind of at with figuring those guys out?
Well, I've got the opportunity right away when I got hired. We jumped on FaceTime at that time. Got a chance to spend some time with them talking. Got a chance to spend time with their parents right away and get a chance to know them. I've had a chance to watch a decent amount of tape. Obviously we were on the road quite a bit in January as we came in and out. So I've got a chance to know them. Obviously I get that opportunity to go through spring and get to see them in a more true setting. And I mean that not just exactly how they kick, punt, or snap, but what their makeup is, what makes them tick, how they can learn. So, you always have an okay handle as you're going into it, but then you get a chance to work with them individually. You get a chance to really get a feel for who and what they are.
Let's go to John Sauber, Center Daily Times, and Nate Bauer. You're on deck.
Hey, Stacy, how are you?
I'm doing good, John. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, thanks. So you obviously had some overlap with Joe Lurie at Western Oregon. Is he someone you're close with, and did you talk to him before you took this job? And if so, what was that like?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, me and Coach Lurie, me and Joe played together at Western Oregon. We GA'd together at Western Oregon. We worked together at Idaho State University and Central Washington University. So there's a lot of overlap. Friends, obviously within this coaching profession through special teams is a small world out there. So we exchanged ideas, thoughts. So there'll be a lot of things that are similar in a lot of ways. And certainly did talk to Joe, and nothing but unbelievable things to say about Penn State, Coach Franklin, this staff in this area.
Hey, Stacy, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Good. Hey, is there, hopefully this isn't too broad, but is there something you hang your hat on with special teams in a specific area that you think is prioritized? I mean, what generally would your approach be to that facet of the game?
Well, again, my background's in education. So to me, coaching is all about teaching. So we're going to hang our hat on being great teachers. And the game of football changes, the schematics change, but the teaching progressions are what are key to it. So we've been extremely aggressive in our punt block, punt return schemes over years. Certainly, you got to factor that into what the strength of the team is. I mean, there's years that we've led the nation in kick return. Sometimes you don't have that skill set or those guys in it. There's been years that we've been unbelievable from a field goal unit. There's years that maybe you're not in that situation where you've got to maybe take some more chances. So for me, we've been aggressive in a lot of areas, trying to stay cutting edge with what we're doing. But be great teachers, have unbelievable energy with it. Let these kids have fun and have doing it, finding that hidden yardage and making big plays to help this team win football games.
Let's go to Annerly Penwell, WTAJ, followed by Ali Barubi.
Stacy, you and I actually overlap a little bit prior to my time out here. I was in Rapid City, South Dakota. So at Coda, Vic Quick told me if I get a chance to talk to you to say hello. So from Vic all the way in Rapid City, hello. And my question is kind of going off what Nate said. Can you just kind of give us your foundation, your mission statement, so to speak, of what your special teams, in addition to kind of your education mindset is?
Yeah, we want to be able to change the game throughout special teams. We want to be able to develop players on and off the field that can change the game in all facets and win the hidden yardage that's out there. And we want to do that by being fundamentally sound, technically sound, doing it with great energy, having fun while we're doing it, and making plays. Again, I said this earlier, but making plays that allow this team to win football games.
Let's go to Ali Barubi, ABC 27, followed by Joe Smeltzer.
Hey, Stacy, appreciate the time today.
Thank you.
I'm curious, when you get two new coordinators in a room with Coach Franklin and then you bring in Mike Gersich, what's kind of the mantra between, this kind of brain trust of coordinators and head coach? What has he said he wants from everyone? And then how hard is it or easy is it to create those relationships as you're trying to recruit, learn the team, learn the area? Just curious about how you develop that relationship.
Well, you do get a lot of time, when you're on the recruiting as you're with different guys in different situations. I was with Coach Franklin multiple times. You get a chance to work around him, as you're working in and out of the high schools or home visits, you get a chance to see exactly what he's looking for. And I'd say the same thing with Coach Diaz and Coach Gersich. In my role, you're really that gap between it. You're dealing with everybody on the football team. How can you be that piece between the offense and the defense that brings everybody together from a player standpoint? And then certainly from a production standpoint, that we're winning the field position battle. We're allowing our offense to be in starting field position. It gives them in those situations where they can have the most success.
Let's go to Joe Smeltzer with Nittany Sports Now, and then Mark Brennan.
Hi, Stacy. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you also.
Okay, so what have you seen from the linebackers group so far, particularly Curtis Jacobs, because obviously he has high expectations individually coming into 2022?
Well, they've played great defense here, and the chance to watch these guys right now. I have not got a chance to get to a winter workout yet. We'll get to do that on Tuesday as we get rolling. But they've done an unbelievable job of putting the talent in the room here that you need to work with. I'm excited about that from a special team standpoint, because as you filter through that whole roster, certainly that linebacker position is going to be one that you're using along with special teams. But similar to the question I had earlier with the kickers, punters, and long snappers, you can watch them tape. We've certainly done that. I think it gives you a good feel. But understanding that personal makeup, how they work, how they move in person, that's the biggest value. And I'm excited to be able to see that over the next couple of months.
Let's go to Mark Brennan, followed by Greg Pickle.
Sorry, I was playing unmute there. I apologize. Stacy, are there some other areas? Obviously, we talked about Washington State, but are there some other areas that you've recruited a lot and well that you might be able to open some things up for Penn State? And tell us what you're like as a recruiter. What do you kind of bring to the table? Thanks.
Yeah, well, talking about Black Hills and South Dakota, when I was out there as a head coach, and tell Vic Quick I said hi too, please. I didn't get that in last time, but we truly recruit national. It's a math science engineering institution. We recruited national. So we were taking guys out of Texas. We're taking guys on the Eastern Seaboard. I've worked internationally. We've been able to recruit internationally off of that. So, certainly understand the footprint of what we have at Penn State. Recruiting is recruiting, to answer your second question, in my opinion. It's about the relationships that you can create, certainly with the players, but just as important with the parents and the coaches with that. And as I've went through, throughout the United States, from Alaska, Hawaii, all the way over to recruiting internationally with those relationships. So I'm going to create those relationships with the players, their parents, and really that genuine piece of it. I think that, there's so much out there. We deal with recruiting every year as a college football coach, but each home, each situation is different, and making sure that you spend the time that they understand that relationship is genuine, and that you're putting their son in the best position to have successful on and off the field. And that's one of the things that excites me about Penn State working for Coach Franklin, is you're doing both at elite level. from the opportunity to compete at the highest elite level, and the same thing from an academic standard with this university.
Let's go to Greg Pickle next.
Coach, in your opinion, what's the difference between a player, a specialist, punter, kicker, what have you, that you offer a scholarship versus one that you might try and get as a walk-on? What qualities do you look for? What kind of things do you need to see over the course of their high school career on the field that it kind of changes the dynamic, of course, between a scholarship guy and a potential preferred walk-on?
I think when you're scholarshiping a guy directly out of the high school, I make the analogy it's similar to a baseball pitcher. I mean, these guys, you can throw in the 90s or you can't. And does that ball jump off his foot the way it needs to jump off his foot? And there's really only a handful of guys throughout the nation, quite frankly, throughout the world, that have that elite status. And that's what you're looking to get. So when you're truly taking a guy directly out, even if that's a long snap, I mean, I can remember we had Matt Overton when I was at Western Washington years ago, and back then, DT, you could work him out. The first 3 snaps he fired back, it was lightning. And you know right then what it was. And I would say the same thing with as you're evaluating kickers and punters. There is a snap, there's a pop, you can hear it off the ball, and there's a small group of guys. Now, I've been fortunate, we've been able to get some guys walk on at several different places and develop into great players. And so, you know, I've seen it done both ways, but what you're really looking for when you scholarship right away is that elite talent, and then you got to find that mental mindset. Can he kick in front of 107,000 people? Can he punt it in those situations when the game's truly on the line?
All right. Appreciate your time today, Stacy, and appreciate everybody for joining us.